Okay, so we are going to pickle some jalapenos that we had left over. I didn't want them to go to waste, so I've got some jalapenos here. And I guess what we have to do is we're going to slice up these jalapenos nice and thin, and we're going to put them in this jar. It's I think that this is a 16-ounce mason jar, so we're going to put them in here. We're going to add 2 cloves of garlic, well, one in like a little bit of garlic. We're going to smash it, put it in the jar, and to that we are going to add, we're going to do 3/4 of a cup of distilled vinegar. We're going to add 3/4 of a cup of filtered water. It's going to give us, there we go. I'm not sure why it has to be filtered, but as opposed to tap water. But if, you know, we're just going to kind of follow the rules there. So we're going to do the 3/4 cup filtered water, 3/4 a cup distilled vinegar. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Got my sugar here. I think you can use like pure cane sugar or just like regular white sugar. So I've got white sugar right here. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. Let me just get this sugar back there. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to heat up your liquid mixture. So I'm going to put this in a pan. I'm going to heat it up, and you basically want the sugar to dissolve. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Put it in our pot here. It'll make a mess. All the sugar stuck to the measuring cup. Probably should have just measured out the liquid and then put the sugar and the salt in here. Hopefully this doesn't mess up our measurements too much. I don't think it will. See, this is why I don't really like to measure. I like to measure with my heart. But I've never pickled before, so I don't really know if this is going to affect our end result. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the stove, and I'm going to let that heat up. Okay. In the meantime, let's smash this garlic. I just have to smash it, so I'm not really going to go ahead and like chop it, but see, nice and smashed. Pop that in our jar. Let's smash these other 2. I think it's just to get kind of like the flavor out. And then we're gonna start cutting up these jalapenos. And this time I'm not gonna de-seed them. I'm just gonna slice them into little coins, probably like this thickness. I think that's good. I'm just gonna plop them in the jar. I think I only need like 4 or 5, but I'm gonna see how many I can get, because I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have like 6 jalapenos, but this one's kind of like small. So maybe we can squeeze that one in there. The seeds are going everywhere. And I think for this, I really want to get the seeds in there. So I'm not going to just discard them. I believe I had showed you that we usually eat the sweet and spicy jalapenos from Trader Joe's. If I can find a recipe out there that kind of mimics that, that would be really cool. Because if I could do that, then save some money there. Okay, so that's 1 in there. Let's stem away. I've got my little discard bag next to me on the ground here. I always like to have a little something next to me that I can just kind of quickly clear my workspace with. like this. I got these like green jars a while ago. It came in a pack of 12, and there was green, purple, and blue jars, which I thought was really cool. So I got some of those. I think the green will be nice. Jalapenos are green. Jar is green. Oops, I'm gonna cut myself. I always say that these knives are really sharp, and I say that because there was one day I was preparing some stuff. We were having people over. I can't remember what I was cutting, but the knife slipped, and I actually cut off part of my fingernail. It took a while. It took a while for that to grow back, but it happened so fast. And it's like the knives are so sharp that it's like when you get cut with them, it doesn't even hurt right away because the knife is just so sharp, and it creates such a clean cut. So I'm always very careful with this. My husband does a very good job sharpening these knives. Also, another reason why I don't let the kids use them, they get to use their junior knives. I think I had showed you that. I had showed you Gianna's knife in a previous video. Ooh, I'm like inhaling these jalapenos. It's really hot. It's like the other day when I was inhaling all that cayenne. My oh my. Okay. I think the more I cut these, the more I cut this, the thicker these slices are becoming. I don't know how some of those people can cut, and they're just like chip, 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 chip. Whenever I cut, I take my time. Well, it's also part of the process and why I find it so calming. I did learn. I used to watch Worst Cooks in America, and it was like some show on Food Network. And I did learn from that show that I used to hold my knife like this. You're not supposed to hold it like that. You're supposed to hold it like this so you have better control. And I remember one of the judges, Anne Burrell, she would go down and she would color the contestants' fingers red if they held their knife wrong. So that's why I have since learned that you're supposed to hold the knife like this. Okay, I think this jar is getting like really full, so I might only be able to fit one more jalapeno in there. And I wonder if these jalapenos are going to get hotter or if they're just going to get milder when I pickle them. I went to my parents' house earlier today. I'm very fortunate to have my parents live like less than a mile away from us. So I stopped off there today and I was telling them about the jalapenos, and they were saying that the ones that they got at Aldi's, they were like, yeah, for some reason it tasted like bell peppers. It wasn't very hot. So I was like, oh, well, we'll see. I mean, these ones, when I used it for the jalapeno poppers, they weren't like super spicy. So, oh, I might be onto something there. But I love living close to my family. My in-laws are also in town, and it's just nice, you know. We're a pretty close family. We have a small family, you know. I have one brother, and my husband has one brother. So it's nice that we can all kind of get together, and we all get along really well. So I'm glad that we're all pretty close. All right, so it's got a lot of jalapenos. Hopefully the liquid fits in there. All right, so we've got this. Great. Now I'm gonna go over to the stove, and it looks like this is boiled. Okay. So this is really hot, but I'm supposed to pour the liquid into here, and you let it sit, and you basically just let the jar cool down, and then you put the cap on and put it in the fridge, and you're supposed to like leave it for up to 24 hours before you start munching on it. But we're gonna see what happens. I'll let you know, I guess, if we use these in a recipe. All right. Okay, so I decided I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So I poured the hot liquid into this measuring cup just so it's a little bit easier to get in here, because I don't really trust myself to be able to pour from a pot into this little jar. All right, so here we go. You know what? I've learned from past experiences. These measuring cups aren't always the best to pour with, but we're going to try it out, okay? So here we go. I think it's just because I'm doing this on camera that it's working out. Okay. Whoop. All right, so that is actually like, I don't know if you can see, but it's right up to the top here. So we've just got like, I don't know, maybe like a quarter cup of liquid in here. I don't think that that's going to be too big of a deal. I am just going to let this sit till it cools down. And then we're going to put the cap on, pop it in the fridge, and we are good to go. So let's hope that this works.